Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something pretty interesting. It's about the nuts and bolts of getting a story made.
Yeah, specifically this one project, Shadow Boxer. It's a faith-based drama, and they're looking for funding partners right now.
Exactly. It's fascinating to see what goes into pitching a film, especially one with a clear message.
And they really nail that message with the tagline, don't they?
They do. The final fight is not in the ring, but in the soul. That tells you right off the bat, this isn't just about punches.
Mm-hmm. It's deeper. An internal struggle. We've got some details here about, the story itself, what potential investors are actually looking at.
Right. And the company behind it is Breed Apart Pictures.
A South African company, yeah, focused on authentic African stories.
That's right. But with a global ambition. They're thinking of filming in South Africa, maybe Mauritius, using local talent, but aiming for, a worldwide audience.
Which makes sense. Those core themes, loss, faith, redemption, they travel, don't they? They resonate pretty much everywhere.
Absolutely. So, A Breed Apart Pictures is out there, actively looking for partners. People, organizations who want to back films with purpose. Films that aim for that global connection.
So let's get into it. What is the story they're selling? What's the synopsis of Shadow Boxer that these funders are considering?
Okay, so the main character is Gary the Snake Charmer.
Right, the snake. What's his initial setup? What do we know about him at the start?
Well, he's at the top. Champion heavyweight boxer. Got it all, seemingly. But then, bam, tragedy hits. Hard.
What kind of tragedy?
His son accidentally drowns in a swimming pool. Just a devastating personal loss. And that event really throws his whole world off its axis.
Wow, yeah, that's heavy. And people react to that kind of thing in, well, very different ways. How does Gary handle it, according to the synopsis?
He turns his back on his faith completely. Just rejects it.
Okay.
And instead of, finding solace or answers, he pours all that grief, all that anger into his boxing.
Ah, so he fights differently.
Yeah, with his raw vengeance, like he's punishing his opponents for his own pain. It's described as pretty brutal.
Which sounds incredibly dangerous. I mean, emotionally, but also physically, right? In boxing.
Absolutely. The synopsis makes it a point of saying another bad hit, another hard knock to the head could be catastrophic for him, fatal even, or cause serious brain damage. He's pushing the limit.
So he's already on shaky ground. Then comes this big title fight. Seems like a turning point.
It is. But the pressure isn't just in the ring this time. It's coming from outside. This is key for, anyone thinking of investing, the external conflicts driving him.
Okay, what's going on?
His manager, who's also his father, Nigel Charmer, he's in big trouble financially.
Yeah.
Yeah, owes a lot of money to a loan shark. He's desperate. And he leans on Gary hard
To do what?
to throw the fight, intentionally lose.
Wow, from his own father. That's tough. Emotional blackmail, pretty much.
Exactly. And Gary, he's torn, obviously, but he eventually agrees, reluctantly.
But there's a condition. Right, I think I saw that.
Yes. He insists the knockout has to look real, totally convincing.
Yeah.
Even in that situation, his fighter's pride is still there. He won't just take a dive.
Okay, so the fight happens, and making it look real means taking some actual hits.
Definitely. His opponent lands several hard blows in the first round. You can imagine the scene, the risk involved in this whole charade. And then Gary goes down. He collapses.
End of story. Payday for Nigel.
Not even close. This is where it takes a really sharp, unexpected turn.
Oh.
Gary doesn't just wake up the next day with a headache. He wakes up 3 months later.
3 months? What happened?
He's been in a coma. And the cause is, well, it's bizarre. An attack by a Rinkel's cobra.
A cobra? Seriously? How does that fit in? That feels
Yeah.
out of left field. Funders might question that twist, perhaps.
It's definitely a shocker in the synopsis. Maybe it symbolizes something, the hidden dangers. But yeah, it's a wild card. And the news gets worse when he wakes up.
How much worse can it get after a 3-month coma caused by a snake?
Well, the doctor delivers a double blow. First, permanent blindness in his right eye.
Oh, no. So his boxing career.
Instantly over.
Yeah.
Finished. Gone.
Devastating. And the second blow.
His wife?
Yeah.
She was also attacked by the cobra, and she didn't survive. Died shortly after the attack.
Oh, my God. Waking up to that. Blind in one eye, career gone, wife dead. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. The synopsis says he just explodes. Pure rage. He gets violent, has to be sedated by the hospital staff. He's lost absolutely everything.
So eventually he gets out of the hospital. What's left of him?
He's described as, emaciated, unrecognizable, physically and emotionally just shattered. But There's still a flicker of the old Gary.
How so?
He goes looking for his father, Nigel.
For help or for revenge?
Seems like help initially. He's actually hoping, somehow, maybe there's a way back into boxing. It's all he knows, right?
One with the one eye. And his history now. The official boxing commission wouldn't touch him, surely.
That's exactly what Nigel tells him. Harsh reality check. Even if you could fight, he's too old. Too much of a risk now.
So door slammed shut.
By the official channels, yes. But Nigel, always looking for an angle, suggests something else.
Uh-oh. What now?
The underground circuit. Illegal fight clubs.
Wow. Okay, that's a dark turn. A real descent. This is where the tone of the film likely shifts, something investors would note.
Absolutely. He has to adapt his boxing skills for, MMA-style fights. No rules, brutal stuff. And it gets even darker. He starts using steroids.
Oh, man.
Yeah, gets sucked into this world that the synopsis calls human dogfights. Just a grim, exploitative scene.
He's really spiraling down. Is his mental state holding up at all through this?
Not really. The synopsis mentions he starts having these disturbing hallucinations.
Of why?
His dead wife and son, his guilt and grief are literally haunting him.
That makes sense, sadly.
And then there's this other weird recurring thing. He keeps getting attacked.
Attacked? By who? In the fights?
No, outside the fights.
Yeah.
By some mysterious figure, hooded, tattooed assailant who attacks him and then just vanishes. Adds this layer of paranoia, maybe. Or is it real? It's unclear.
So, hallucinations, mysterious attacks. His reality is completely fracturing. It sounds like everything is just crashing down.
Exactly. All of it, the loss, the coma, the blindness, the illegal fights, the drugs, the vision, it all builds towards this breaking point. A major revelation.
Okay, the climax of the synopsis.
Yeah, and this is where that tagline really hits home. The final fight is not in the ring, but in the soul. He finally realizes, or is forced to realize, that all the physical fighting was just noise.
A distraction from the real battle.
Precisely. The real fight is internal. It's for his soul. And all his boxing skills, his physical strength, useless in this fight.
So his strength isn't the answer. What is? How does he fight that battle? Does the synopsis give a clue?
It does. It points towards the one thing he abandoned right at the start after his son died.
His faith.
His faith. That's presented as the only real weapon he has left against the despair, the darkness, the internal struggle. It suggests a path towards maybe redemption.
So wrapping up the story for potential funders, it's a classic arc in a way. Fall from grace, journey through hell, basically.
Yeah, a real descent into darkness, loss, betrayal, addiction, violence.
But with the potential for redemption offered through reconnecting with faith, set against this quite gritty boxing and underground fighting backdrop.
Exactly. And it's coming from a Breed Apart Pictures, remember, with their focus on authentic South African storytelling, but aiming for that global reach.
So the package for investors seems to be a powerful emotional narrative, potentially challenging themes, a unique setting, and a production company with a specific vision.
Right. They're looking for partners who see the value in that kind of purpose-driven film, something that might resonate deeply with certain audiences.
Which brings us back to the listener, really, especially if you follow film or think about what makes a project worth backing. Considering what we've just unpacked, the synopsis, the company's mission, what kind of impact do you think a film like Shadowboxer could actually have?
Yeah, and maybe more broadly, what is it that motivates people or companies to invest in stories like this? Stories that tackle faith, struggle, redemption head on. It's definitely something interesting to think about.